Roblox will be banned and removed worldwide after several children were kidnapped.
In this video, guys, we're gonna look at real-life stories.
Boys and girls have disappeared because of playing Roblox.
Is it true? Or is it false? Pay close attention because this video is very important.
So let's get to it.
But before anything else, I'll give you 3 seconds to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and leave a like on this video.
Alright, now we're really starting. We're here now to react to and watch videos about boys and girls who have disappeared because of playing Roblox. Could this be true? Is it real?
Here we have the first one.
Cusco. An 18-year-old was arrested in Cusco for kidnapping a girl as part of a Roblox challenge.
Let's see. Let's find out if this is true or not. I invite you to look at this image.
Take a look. There's a young man in front of his house waiting for someone, and it's likely that a camera is recording him.
Alright, here we have a boy who's out on the street, and suddenly a smaller person approaches. It seems to be a girl, just as it says here. It looks staged, but let's see what happens.
Like something from TV or a movie.
Suddenly a girl, right? With her backpack, she arrives, stands in front of him, he grabs the girl, picks her up, and takes her into a house.
By force, he picks her up and takes her into a house.
This is part of a game, Roblox.
Wait. It's not part of a game. This guy is kind of taking things out of context, isn't he?
This is definitely a challenge, a stupid thing, and obviously it's shameful, but it has nothing to do with the game.
It's clear this is a foolish thing this person did.
This is a crime, but it has nothing to do with Roblox. Let's see what else he says. In Cusco, this has become a trend. A group of boys gets together and says, we're going to give you, let's see, a challenge. Your challenge is going to be to hold a girl captive for 5 or 10 years. Someone from your... that's not even a challenge.
It's a disgrace.
Those boys are not right in the head, honestly.
And he comes up with the idea to hold captive a girl who was going to school.
This interpretation of a game for this group of young people is truly unbelievable, isn't it?
But those aren't the only challenges that exist.
There are other challenges.
Right? There are more challenges.
A store robbery and you're being recorded.
You have to record it, you have to prove that you stole, or else disrespect an authority.
You go to a police station and say anything, and the police call you out, but you have to prove it.
This 18-year-old boy has been detained by the police, but since it's a group, it could be considered or classified as the crime of kidnapping by a gang.
Aggravated kidnapping, right? And aggravated kidnapping in Peru. The law says you can get between 10 and 20 years of punishment just for a game.
18-year-old kids, don't you realize that these games go beyond what society can tolerate?
Okay, but what does Roblox have to do with all of this?
Because it's just a simple dare that's shameful and it's a crime, but honestly, I don't understand why they're mixing it with Roblox.
People are going to watch this with criticism and surprise at what we're seeing on screen. How do you get kids, how do you get all of us to understand that games have limits, or don't they?
Bye, see you.
It's a disgrace.
Let's look at this.
Let's look at this.
He met his victim on Roblox.
An 11-year-old girl was kidnapped by a 27-year-old man. Let's see.
Kidnapped by a 27-year-old man.
They communicated through the game.
Okay.
They communicated through Roblox.
You have to be very careful because obviously on Roblox you don't know who you're talking to or if they're lying about their age.
That's why you should never share personal information. Not your age, not your place of birth, not where you live.
That's clear. You shouldn't do that in Roblox or in any game, but obviously it's clear that you can play just without crossing those boundaries and without being so, silly or foolish as to share your personal information.
Never do that.
Roblox, and today I want you to know this whole story.
Let's see what story they're going to tell us.
This case, and so we understand that the internet is not a safe place for underage girls and boys.
On September 10th, Roblox is safe, but you have to be a little careful and not share, your personal information.
September 10th.
Let's see.
At around 7 in the morning, the Wayne police received a call.
It was the family of this 11-year-old girl who wanted to report her disappearance since they couldn't find her anywhere.
The authorities quickly went to the girl's house to file the report and try to investigate what had happened, whether someone had taken her or if she had left on her own. While the authorities were investigating, they obviously found her computer and discovered that this girl had been in contact with a particular person.
When they reviewed the messages and conversations, the authorities quickly realized that the girl was in danger, since it was very likely that she had left with this man. All right.
Here, the girl obviously made a mistake because she talked to this stranger and gave him information.
Obviously, in Roblox, you can talk to whoever you want. You can make friends. That's what the game is for, but you shouldn't cross those boundaries. And that's something all of you need to know.
During the investigation, the authorities discovered that this guy wasn't another child or a young person, but a 27-year-old man named Darius N. Darius and the little girl had met on another online platform but had decided to move their conversations to Roblox.
All right, I understand.
So they met on another platform and then moved to Roblox.
And there they talked for a long time, hours and hours. And obviously she didn't know that the other person was, well, twice her age.
Obviously, you don't know that when you're playing Roblox. They talked about intimate things, private matters, and other kinds of topics.
Authorities believe that this older man stayed on the Roblox game to avoid raising suspicion with the girl's parents.
Shortly after the authorities found out that this little girl was with Darius, Darius was arrested in another city. Just as you're hearing me, this man had already taken the 11-year-old girl out of her city and moved her to another city. This is very, very disturbing.
That's why, listen, parents who are listening to me, who are watching this video, you obviously need to monitor what your children are doing, and you can tell them what they should and shouldn't do while playing online games.
You can play with friends you know, you can make new friends, but as I said before, and I'll say it several more times in this video, do not share personal information.
That's really the first rule when playing online, when playing with other people, because you never know who's really behind the other screen, whether they're telling the truth or lying.
That's why you have to be very careful.
Obviously, this man's plan was to commit countless acts of violence, but his plan was foiled because he was arrested. The young girl was quickly brought to safety by the authorities, and apparently this man had not managed to carry out his plan. So far, Darius is only charged with first-degree kidnapping and endangering a minor.
If Darius is found guilty, he could spend between 10 and 30 years in prison.
Well, that's deserved and guilty, obviously.
But that's something only the jury, the prosecution, and the authorities can decide. What would have happened if the authorities hadn't acted quickly?
Or what would have happened if this 11-year-old girl hadn't been so naive and had deleted all the conversations and erased all the evidence that led the authorities to catch this man?
Please, let's understand that the internet is not a safe space for our girls and boys.
Children must not be touched. It sounds like something out of a horror movie, but this...
Let's see, what's next? 38-year-old man arrives at a family's home after getting the address from children on Roblox. What is this?
What you're seeing here actually happened in the United States.
A 12-year-old girl shared her address with a 38-year-old man.
All right. Things you should never do again. Sharing your location, your home address with a stranger.
You just don't know who they are.
Maybe it's someone you met on Roblox. They pretend to be your friend. You think you know them. They seem like a good person, but then they ask you for your address and you give it to them.
You should never do that.
How creepy and scary. That's why you have to be very careful and not reveal personal information.
She said she used to talk and play with her online on the popular game Roblox.
This is known as grooming.
These people trick children and make them believe they are the same age so that the kids will share information with them.
Remember that when a child is playing online with a microphone, they can get distracted and share information, data, and even reveal their address, as happened in this case.
Do you think it's dangerous?
Roblox, very dangerous.
It is banned and removed worldwide.
Let's see.
Alert! Roblox will be removed after child abductions worldwide.
This really seems like it smells fake, obviously.
After several children were kidnapped, authorities have reported that the number of missing minors has increased significantly.
This famous video game is supposedly serving as a portal for millions of children to be kidnapped and then have their organs removed.
A 14-year-old girl.
This video is, it seems more like it's meant to scare people than anything else, honestly.
Managed to survive because millions and millions of children.
She has shared her story with the whole world.
The girl says that a group of people pretend to be children and befriend your kids. After gaining the children's trust, they arrange a meeting, but keep it hidden from the parents.
When the children arrive at the location, they are kidnapped so their organs can be removed and sold on the black market.
The United States is the country with the most cases.
What madness, but
But it has been spreading rapidly throughout the entire world.
if you're a fan of Roblox, it might be best to start saying goodbye to this video game since it will soon be removed from all platforms. This is a lie.
it's clear.
That there are problems, people who shouldn't be playing, people who use it for bad purposes. That may be true, but not everyone, and that's not a reason to shut down a game that millions of people play every day.
But as I said, you have to be careful and not give certain information to strangers.
I found my 10-year-old son talking to a stranger while playing Roblox.
All right, here.
Attention, parents.
Danger on Roblox.
You can make friends on Roblox, of course.
But as I said, you have to be careful because you don't know who's behind the screen.
The thing is, I had let him play on the Roblox app for some time, but I had never noticed anything strange.
Well, I was cleaning my house and I heard my son talking to someone.
I went over to his room and heard my son telling someone not to call him that. So it seemed odd to me and I kept listening. No, don't call me that, I don't like it.
I opened the door to my son's room and asked him, "How is this person calling you?" And he said to me, "My little one."
I realized that it was an adult, someone who is 47 years old.
Immediately I called the police, told my husband so he could advise me on what to do, and we took away the video games from our son.
He told me that this person has been playing with him for a few days and calls him my little one.
He also told me that this person asks him where we live.
I always warned. See? Here, when someone you don't know asks you that, obviously you remove them from your friends and tell someone. But in all the times I've played Roblox over all these years, no one has ever asked me for my address.
But I know that maybe since there are tons of people playing Roblox, millions, maybe there's a very small percentage who use Roblox for these kinds of things, and you have to be very careful.
About that,
The address of the house, not even the name of the place where we live.
he only told him that he lived in the United States and that's it.
But parents, let's be extremely careful with our children when they're playing video games.
I know the mistake was mine for letting my child play that video game and not paying attention to which apps he was using.
Thank God I heard what he was saying in time and it didn't go any further.
So be extremely careful with your children when they play these kinds of video games.
Not just Roblox, there are many games where you can play online and meet people. Some of them might actually be really good people, but as I always say, you never really know who is truly behind the screen. So if you're a boy or a girl, of course you can absolutely play Roblox, but please don't do anything unwise or foolish or share your personal information. That's always the very first rule when playing online games.
So guys, what a curious video this was.
It's a video where we've seen stories. Some of them might be fake, others true. But what is definitely true is that you have to be very careful. You can play sure, but don't share information with people you don't know.
That's absolutely clear because it really is dangerous. You can't give out personal information like your address to someone you don't know.
And maybe someone pretends to be your friend. So you have to be careful about who you accept and who you don't.
Alright guys, we're going to end this video here.
If you want more videos about real life stories and more, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button and become part of Team Lokis.
Thank you so much. And if you haven't yet, what are you waiting for?
Because there are a lot of videos coming to the channel.
And remember, of course you can play Roblox. Your parents will probably let you. But just use your head and be careful. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.